This is the OM System TG-7, and we are on Portland in Dorset, and we're here to test out how tough this camera is. The T stands for tough. It is shockproof and waterproof. It's designed for those moments where you think, should I bring the camera with me? Is it worth the risk? And the answer with this in your pocket is always yes. It's designed for adventure, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So, the tough specifications of this camera, I was trying to keep in position here, the tough specifications of this camera are really formidable. I mean, it's a compact camera, it's got a great zoom range on it, but the key thing is, it's nearly indestructible. It's waterproof straight out of the box to 15 meters, and you can get a housing for it that'll take it even deeper if you're into scuba diving, sub-aqua. But for the moment, I just want to test out with a little bit of trepidation, because I never do this with any other camera. Can I just dunk it in the water? Out it comes. It's still on. And let's get a picture of George. So we've just tried two shots out on the water. One was some close-up macro work right by the sea level on Mulberry Harbour, which is some submersible harbour walls. And you can focus up to 1 centimetre from your subject, and you can still use the zoom here. So you can get incredible close-up macro from a built-in compact camera, which is pretty cool. We also got a brief glimpse of a dolphin who likes to hang out by a two-mast ship. So it was really exciting to see, amazing to witness, amazing that I could have this out, I could drop it at a moment's notice, get the paddles out, change my position. With this, it's always available, no matter where I see the moment. The challenge is me staying stable in the kayak, but that's part of the fun. I've been really enjoying it. So let's talk about the camera specifications. It's a 12 megapixel sensor sitting behind a 4.5 to 18 millimeter lens. Don't be worried, it's not super wide angle. That sensor is actually quite small, so the equivalent focal length is 25 to 100 millimeters. What you need to know is that it's a wide angle to quite a nice telephoto zoom, so you've got a nice zoom range all in this box. They've engineered this very impressively. As you zoom, the lens doesn't extend out of the camera, which means that they can keep it a sealed unit for all of those tough elements. As well as shooting great 12 megapixel stills, this camera can record video. It records up to 4K video, 30p. It also does higher frame rates for slow motion if you wanted that, but that does come at standard definition. So as well as being waterproof, this camera has other tough specifications. It is freeze-proof. It can operate down to -10 degrees C, which means that you could do something creative like a time-lapse in your freezer, but it also means that if you're doing polar exploration or if you were doing high-altitude climbs, then you could keep on shooting with this up above the snow line, which will be really cool. It, in addition to that, is crushproof, and that is something that I really like about this. It's resistant to crushing up to 100 kilograms. I'm not going to step on it deliberately, that's not my concern. It means that I can be a little bit more clumsy when I'm packing. I can shove it into a bag, I can have it in with other things clattering around, and I know that the camera will be okay. It's also impact resistant. Shockproof is what they call it. OM systems say that you can drop this and it'll survive a drop from up to 2.1 meters. I'm not gonna dash it against the rocks. It makes me a little bit too nervous, but trust me, this will stand up to more roughhousing than your standard DSLR mirrorless camera system, or even any other compact camera. This will survive. Using the TG-7 around Portland today, I've been largely shooting in automatic and also the scene modes. The scene modes are quite impressive. You've got two customizable modes. You've got aperture priority and you've got program where you can fine-tune all of your settings. But I think that this camera really excels as a point and shoot, something that you can go, I want to take a picture of that. You don't really need to think too hard. You can get a picture of it. It's a really easy camera to use. Not only is it easy to use, it's easy to find what you're looking for. As you're going through the menu, it has a little pop-up description that kind of tells you a little bit more about what that menu setting is. Something that in more complex and more specialist cameras you don't get, because it's expected that they come with that kind of starter knowledge. This is great for a beginner. It's also, you know, it's great to share with other people. You can give this camera to someone else and know that not only will they not break it, they can also use it really easily to get some great shots. Beyond it just being a survivor, it's also a really useful tool for people to get into image creation, recording and making memories without having to think too hard about the technical ins and outs of photography. A little bit of sea mist is coming in, there's a little bit of rain. We're going to wrap up on this review of the TG-7. This camera is to be shared. I really think that it excels in a family environment. If you had kids running around, if they had ice creams and chocolate and jam sandwiches on their hands, and you could give this to them. If it got really sticky, you could just give it a wash. I mean, you can't do that with other cameras. You can't be so free with giving your kit away and handing it over to people. What I think it would be beautiful for is recording a family holiday from the perspective of your kids as well as you. It gives you that option to kind of get all of those memories, and it helps them to experience photography for themselves, which is really, really wonderful. It's also an absolute adventurer's camera. If you're traveling, or if you know someone who's going on a great trip, if you're studying any kind of natural sciences and you're going on field trips and you're like, I've got an adventure in mind, this is only 250 grams. You can chuck this in a bag along with your other stuff, and you could be in the Amazon rainforest, you could be up a mountain, you could cover that with this camera, and it's so versatile for that. So that wraps up our adventures with the OM System TG-7. It's been really good fun. If you've enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you want to see more of our product reviews for cameras, lenses, all sorts of kit, then subscribe to our channel. You get a notification every time a new one comes out. We'll see you next time.